I'm the Chief Meteorologist over at Channel 2 and Channel 9. I get up at 2:45 every morning and start on the air at 4:30. How many of you are up at 4:30? How many? Really? I usually get one. I get one. Oh yeah, maybe when you're out late the night before, right? Is that what it is? I was never the smart one in my family. My brother was always the scholar. My mom was a teacher and my dad was a writer. My uncle was a successful lawyer in Chicago, and I was the one that had pizzazz. My family celebrated culture and learning. It was clear I, however, God bless you, would never be the one at the head of the class, which makes tonight a little unique. So it was a Tuesday about 2.5 years ago. I walk into work and I had found that all of the bosses that hired me 16 years ago were fired. New management team came in and they were wiping everybody out. So fearing doom, and starting to assess what am I going to do for the rest of my life, I decided what would be next after weather. Well, I was always enamored by local politics. Again, I was good in front of a crowd, so I thought maybe someday I'd go into politics or city planning. What better way to leave your mark in the world than building a city? So it was back to school. I sat in on an orientation meeting 2 years ago, just like the one you have right here at Cal State, and I heard about this MPA program, and I decided I'm going to give it a shot. Now, I don't think I ever really believed that I would finish it. I think when I sat here and thought, and maybe some of you were thinking the same kind of thing, like, maybe I'll try this. We'll see how this works out. Is it really, can I see myself 2 years from now, walking across the stage, getting my diploma there? I don't know, but I'm going to give it a shot. Because you know what? Only smart people get masters, right? And I wasn't the smart one. I was the funny one, the smiling one. So I decided to give it a shot. I found myself sitting in Sierra Hall, which is just on the other side of campus over here on that first day of class, room full of 20-somethings. This was my cohort because I was in the cohort for the urban planning track. And I was wearing a toga when they were born. So that was kind of gives you an idea. But CSUN here would make us the great equalizer because we were going to do this all together. And we were waiting for Dr. Campbell, who also teaches that introduction to public administration class, that 610 class. And he walks in with a stack of books. And I thought, what is he thinking? He's got the stack of books, puts it all down. This was his light reading. This is what he said. Maybe you try read this, and maybe you should read this. What are you talking about? I've got the textbook. I've got these papers I have to write. I have assignments that I have to do, and you want me to do the light reading here, this big stack of books that he has, just for fun. That was his thing. But something was very different about this class, about Dr. Campbell. And it was from the minute we sat down, he treated us like scholars. He brought those books in. And what I realized later was because the joy in this master's program could be gained through the journey and not the means to the end. I actually enjoyed the stimulating exchange. I realized that this time around, school might be a little different. This might actually be worth it. 2 weeks later, my brother, 45 years old, died of a massive heart attack. Now, he was the smart one, right? He was the intellectual one. He earned his master's, he earned his doctorate, and he was gone, and I just started this program. Part of the reason that I went back to school was to find some way to be an equal with him, and now I knew that would never happen. I didn't think there was any way I could continue on in this program. There was no way I could do a grueling run of a new class every 8 weeks for 2 years, and that's really what it is. It's a new class every single 8 weeks. We hardly take any holidays off. We're here when nobody's on campus. Tons of reading, dozens of papers, all kinds of tests. But I found a certain peace in doing it, and I found a certain peace in expanding my knowledge base. So I continued on. And I was sitting there in Professor Toker's research methods class, and I was actually enjoying a lecture on how to interpret regression analysis. Now, really? What is going on here? What has happened to me? I'm enjoying a lecture on regression, and if you don't know what that is, you will by the time you're done with this program. Now, I'm not going to tell you this is an easy thing to do, going through this. I've faced a number of challenges. I had to face what happened to my brother. I'm working over at CBS, up at 2:45 every morning. We get on the air at 4:30, and I can't have a bad day. I got to come out smiling and being happy. But you know what? I stuck through. I went through and continued on. I held down on a full-time job. I tried to be a good dad to my 7-year-old, a good husband to my wife. I was the chair of the Los Angeles Police Department's Community Police Advisory Board. I was the board of my temple. I did all this while I was in school. But the 2 years that I thought would never end ended just this last weekend on Saturday. I took the comprehensive exams. You need to go back and start reading those comprehensive exams, please. But a funny thing happened along the way. I became a student. I realized I could be the intellectual one. I realized that I did have something to say. I realized I could be a good student, and I know it's kind of silly. I've got a career. I'm not planning on leaving the news business anytime soon. But I got this thing, which is the Medal for Achieving Honors. It's now one of my prized possessions. And as I ended the program on Saturday, I have a 4.0, all A's throughout all the classes, which meant a lot to me. Getting my master's here was the best choice I ever made. It helped me to understand that learning could be a lifelong pursuit, that reading scholarly texts can actually be fun. And as I watched the Olympics last week with my daughter, who's crazy about gymnastics, I kept reminding her that there's just nothing like the joy of hard work paying off, which is what this was. You don't know what you're made of until you really challenge yourself. But most importantly, the lesson that CSUN taught me, or I would almost call it a gift if you want to be a little sappy, I learned that maybe I am the smart one in my family.